Bit of a special edition here. You get to see not only me carrying hard in a tier 9 game, but you also get to see some pubby masterpiece theatre. So I'm solo pubbing in my Type 59. I was trying to make money for some reason. I can't remember specifically which tank I was saving up to buy at this point. But that's what I was doing. It may have been the M103, I cannot honestly recall. So, this encounter, I'm going to head into town because I know my team is going to stack Lumberyard and Field like pubbies always do on encounter in this map. Really the only problems on the enemy team are going to be the ISU, the T-54 and the ST-1, all of whom are at least passably good players. The ST-1 is actually quite good. And the T-54, I would certainly hazard a guess, was going to fire heat, and sure enough he was. So we do have actually a surprising number of people heading towards town, but for now it's just myself and our little Type 62 over here, being the fastest things. We arrive here before anyone else. Already the enemy ST-1's been spotted out in the Lumberyard, which is good news for me, and bad news for all our pubbies over there. So I work up aggressively to take this corner. I was expecting to see somebody around here, but the enemy team actually committed almost nothing to town. So kind of risky play, but I decided to push on further and see what I could find, and I realized this Pershing was sitting relatively still in the open. I could take some opportunistic shots at him. Now here's some terrible play from me. I shot a wall. Not the breakable wall, the building right there. Thankfully I start paying attention to what I'm shooting at and managed to get a shot through. Now I thought, that gun looks awfully thin for a 90mm. And sure enough, the fabled 76mm Pershing, one of the rarest things to find in the game. I think it's even less common to see one of these than it is to see a 105mm Dirt Pershing. So for a moment I'm completely taken over by disbelief. I can't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the enemy team having somebody so useless. He comes around the corner and eats a shell to the face. Tiger 2 has pushed down the one line while I was occupied with him, and as he's actually a threat to our ISU if he gets around him, and has done significant damage to him already, I decided to deal with this guy in a hurry. Now, I wasn't paying much attention to the Rheinmetall behind me, but thankfully he was occupied by running away from our Type 62, who is a complete bro, and a real team player in this match. He charges in, the Rheinmetall takes a shot and fucks it, so the little guy survives. Fucks his shot again, and then myself and the Type 62 can just work him down. He's using the 15cm, which would have been very bad news for us if he'd managed to actually hit a single shot, but if he'd been using the 128, we probably would have lost a significant amount of health. We may have even lost the Type 62, which would have caused an issue shortly. So noticing these guys are somewhat engaged with our team in the field, I push into their standard battle base area to try and take out a few of them while they're not paying attention. Unfortunately the wall eats that shot. You can see I've loaded APCR because I know the ST-1 is going to come around the corner, and AP against him is not a thing. It will not have a chance. The ISU is coming up to support. He's got the Leopard coming to support him. You can see I'm trying to keep his gun away from me and work my way around. He gets tracked, and while he's distracted by the ISU, I attempt to put a shot into the Leopard because it's actually capable of hurting me. Our Type 62 helps out, kills the Leopard, and then tracks this guy, which he continued to do. It was very good play by him, very good support. It was exactly what I needed. You can see he just tracked it again. Unfortunately, he gets ammo-racked by the ST-1, but he sacrificed his tank to make sure I stayed alive. which was the right thing to do and was part of what won us the game. So the enemy 53-55 is trying to hide behind the train and no doubt bait me into a shotgun, which is why I'm very cautiously trying to get shots under the train at him without poking my full tank around. If he'd been really on top of his game, he probably could have got me right there. Even a near miss would have been enough to fuck me. The 53-55 has an enormous gun compared to what my Type 59 can stand up to. So the Centurion just shot HE at our KV-5, but the JT-88 is positioned in the lumberyard to hit me, and there he is. Centurion switches back to AP, bounces off me. I want to get out of the JT-88's field of fire and kill the Cent, which I do. And then the JT-88 becomes occupied with my teammates behind me, which is a mixed blessing. Manages to track me, but in a position where I can hit him. I decide to drop repairs on my tracks, just because I don't want to get DPM down by the JT. Has a very high rate of fire and quite decent aim. He could kill me very quickly. So the enemy T-54 and IS-6 gang up on our Tiger 1, who was foolishly alone in cap. But the JT-88 is taken down, and I'm running out of ammo. I have 1 APCR shell and 9 AP shells left. Our Tiger 2 still has most of his hit points. Our KV-5 is looking a little low. The KV-5 is on 5 kills so far and has decent stats, so I kind of expect good play from him. T-54 comes around and he's firing pure heat at tier 8s. Now, I wouldn't normally draw attention to this because it's sort of a foregone conclusion that probably he's driving T-54s fire nothing but heat, but in a moment you'll see why. So he nearly kills me, but not quite. And then KV-5 manages to clean him up. IS-6 is on cap. And the T-54 cries, "Fucking gold slinging noob," after he was firing nothing but heat at our entire team all game, including at preferential tier 8s. Again, cognitive dissonance in this game is just so prevalent. So I roll around the corner. The IS-6 is distracted, but unfortunately I fuck up. I should have just driven straight through the yard behind him or tried to blaze past him, but I didn't, and I gave him a free shot on me. So now the fate of the game rests on the shoulders of our KV-5 and our Tiger 2. The KV-5 is one-shottable even with HE from the 122mm gun. The Tiger 2 still has a lot of health. Now, what the KV needs to do is just stay here for a minute, and the Tiger 2 needs to run around the back of the IS-6, or they could do the opposite, it doesn't really matter. They need to pincer, basically. Instead, the Tiger 2 blocks the KV-5 from side-scraping. Thankfully the IS-6 bounces. The KV-5 battleships out, bounces another shot, and then the Tiger 2 battleships. And he just sits there, broadside to the enemy, and takes hits. Now, the KV-5 could save this by driving around on the flank, but he stops, hesitates, and backs up instead, dooming the Tiger 2 to death, and potentially throwing the game. So there goes the Tiger 2, that's the end of him. The KV-5 can potentially one-shot the IS-6 here. The IS-6 can absolutely one-shot the KV-5, and if he has the presence of mind to load HE, he would. So KV rolls high, but only just. He would need a considerably higher roll to kill the IS-6. And then he bounces. The IS-6 also bounces. That shot looked like it was aimed at the R2-D2, and so it's pure luck that didn't go through. The KV-5 isn't carrying any gold ammo, it seems, or if he is, he already used it. And because he's doing this back and forth shit, he can't make accurate shots. I point out to him that if the IS-6 switches to HE, he's fucked. One shot will kill him, but the IS-6 thankfully doesn't have the presence of mind to use HE in the one circumstance where it's the right thing to do. Meanwhile, our KV decides it is the right thing to do and starts firing HE. It does, what was that, 9 damage to the IS-6. It's like some kind of lobotomy patient mating ritual. I don't know how this KV5 got those stats. I have no clue. Science cannot explain it. He keeps doing the back and forth pubby shit, which could get him killed if the IS-6 knew what he was doing. Thankfully the IS-6 is an even bigger idiot than the KV. And bounces again. And the KV5 shoots his own cover. But he knows he has a DPM advantage, surprisingly, since he doesn't seem to know anything else. But then he hesitates again. He could have just kept rolling around the corner, popped the IS-6 in the face with HE, and that would have been game. Instead, he backs up and gives the IS-6 time to reload. He's now trying to side scrape off the Tiger II's wreck. But because the IS-6 is obviously backed around the corner, instead of thinking like a normal person, it's flanking around the courtyard in front of him, he keeps thinking it's going to come back around the corner. Even our puppies know what's going on here, if you look at chat. Thankfully, he does wake up to the fact that he's being flanked, and the IS-6 isn't even paying attention. So, with this colossal failure, somehow achieving 7 kills, we managed to win the game, and I got pretty decent experience and credits out of this, but I also got probably a couple of years knocked off my life by having to sit there and watch that. It certainly rates up there in the worst pubby showdowns I've ever seen. Probably somewhere after the T-44 and KV5 that couldn't pen each other, and the 2 Super Pershings who slung HE at their gun mantlets. Those are probably my top 2. This would maybe be 3rd or 4th, somewhere in there. Definitely top 5. I can't quite believe that happened. I also can't believe that we won it. If I was that IS-6, I would have just loaded an HV shell right at the start and blown the KV5 away in one hit. I mean, that's not even considering if he had gold armor, he would have gone straight through the KV5 as if it wasn't there. But a win is a win, I suppose.